Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Theorycraft. My name is Anders, and we'll be taking you through Overpass this time around. I want to start off with two apologies. One, I'm recording all of this in my hotel room in Kiev, and maybe a little bit of weird background noise or anything like that. I hope you guys are okay with it. I tried to get the settings right to get the best quality. Might even be better at home for some reason. I think I'm going to have to go look at that when I get back home. Anyway, secondly, and this is the big one, this video is going to be just a little bit crazy, so hopefully you guys will bear with me. I went pretty deep on the autism for this particular video, so hopefully you guys will just be fine with that, and we can all have a good time. We're going to start off following up on one of the videos that we had on cache, which was the last one, and we introduced this idea of sort of a different kind of flashbang that sort of have, I would say, slightly different effects than the regular ones. So it's really simple, and I'll show you exactly how it works for this one. Go back and watch the cache one if you want sort of the full explanation. But in short, the way that it works is instead of being sort of either silent or very fast, it's more like it moves very little. There's like a third dimension that we're working with. So the lack of movement means it's really, really hard for the human eye to spot it. So we'll go quick with this one. Crouch into the corner. Just go down like this, roughly at the level of the sun, and roughly following this indentation, you look up and you do sort of an underhand throw. And that's it. It doesn't really look like much. It's going to land on that corner, and if I just quickly disable the grenade trajectory, you can tell, I hope, that it's almost impossible to spot it. So let's see. It's going to work from three different angles. It's going to work if people are coming in out here, and they're sort of, usually they'd be looking for someone there or there, and they're going to be sort of, at a far distance, and they just can't really see anything. It's always going to work as well if they go in here, and again, it's very hard to spot, and I think if you put it far enough to the right, it's even going to work there. So that's three different angles that people sort of commonly occupy. Now it's possible if you're sort of like very quick, you can sort of see it right on the edge, but people aren't looking there, right? If you're coming in here, you're probably looking that direction, right? You're looking for anyone sort of popping out. So your eye is not going to register that little movement. So that's the first trick in this one. The next one is, it's silly, but it's not as silly as the upcoming one, so I don't want to sort of oversell it yet. You blow out this balloon, and then you get a teammate, or if you're in the same position as I am and you don't have any teammates, you get a bot instead. And we'll just get the bot to crouch on in. So put your bot up here, and then just sort of make this jump, and you end up standing on this little thing. It's really silly, and it's ultimately probably useless, but I do enjoy it. I think it's just too funny, like someone forgot about moving this little bit, and I'm sure they will remove it now, but I get to have my 5 seconds of glory, which is fine. You can actually spot people that are standing on the flower beds over here. Like if they're standing far enough to the right, you can see them, but I'm not going to try and pretend that this is going to be a useful tool. It is funny though. So that's the next one. Now, before we get to the really fun part, which is the meat of this little video, I want to explain to people how this box works, because apparently nobody knows, and it's getting frustrating. I've seen a lot of pro teams. The bomb is about to go down, and they're coming in from the A bomb site. They're sort of reinforcing the bomb site, CT side, and they, they're frustrated, and they just shoot like that. They just sort of try and shoot through the box, which, fair play, with the AWP you can, but it only does like 14 damage, so it's going to be tricky. You can make it do a lot more damage, and you just have to know where to actually fire. So if you're aiming at the top of the box like this, instead of sort of in the middle of it, there's like this huge indentation in the middle, or like the gap between the two parts of the box, I suppose. So if you aim right above like that, then we're talking 60 damage instead of the 14 from before. Can sometimes get a little bit higher, but the interesting thing is you can even make it work with a Glock if you want. So that was only 5 damage, but you probably won't have any of those. You probably will have something like an M4 instead. So that is still pretty viable, like 16 damage, and it's right at headshot range. So people are planning to bomb, they're obviously going to be doing like this, but if they stand up, then that's it. 16 damage to the face, and then the multiplier added on top means you're going to do a lot of damage through that. Pretty easy when you're on the T side. I mean, you might even have an easier time doing that because you're shooting straight through at an even angle, whereas the other people are shooting at the top of it and then going down. That's why the damage fall off is a little bit more. But like I said, it's worth knowing that can be done even with a pistol, because sometimes if you're in a 1 versus 1, there's not that much time left. That can be the difference between you winning or losing the round. And it's worth talking about up here as well. We'll just bring the AWP as well. It's worth talking about because the same problem happens when you're on this side. Sometimes people are up here. There's someone planting down there, and they just sort of wild go for shots. And it's worth knowing a bit about the construction of that particular box, I think. So there's a sort of line that you can follow there, like the sun is just hitting it. And if you shoot the AWP there, it's going to be, like, again, much more effective. And this is sort of roughly where people are planting most of the time, because you can't plant all the way on the side. So people tend to plant in the middle if they don't want to get too close to the edge. So, yeah, that's going to be potentially successful shot. Just follow that line and you'll be hitting a good shot. Same is true with the M4, and even quite far off to the side. I think more than people realize. Like, that's a bullet that's going to hit people right there. And it does damage. So just know how that box works, because it could be the difference between winning or losing the round. So I just had to get that in there. Now, I promise we're going to get to the truly mad part. So let me just configure my bots for a minute, because I need them. I'll get Moses to do this next time. I'll get Moses in my room, and we'll get his computer, and we'll make it work. We need the bots. We need them to actually mimic my movements. And we are going to go for a quad boost, but it requires 5 people, because that's how much time I spent doing this, sadly for me. Yeah. There is this thing is what we're going to use to help us. And there's a clip brush that goes all the way into the sky. I don't actually have the commands ready on this keyboard, so I'll just take my word for it. We're going to be boosting into something that sort of doesn't look like it's really there, but it is. And here's how it works. So we have our bots available. We are going to make them crouch as long as we can. The third one here can't crouch, because that's how triple boosting works. The bottom 2 can, the third one cannot. And then I will be standing on this side. So that's it, 5 people in the B-bomb side. That means you're obviously not going to be doing this in a round where you have rifles. This is for a round where you have a deagle or a scout or a couple of deagles, and you're going to stack the B-bomb side anyway. So why not try and make something of it? So here we are, 3 people there. That's an easy boost to make, and you can spot over towards the door with it. That guy can easily see the door, as you can tell. And the 4th member in the boost is going to be all the way on top, and he can look towards this part of it. So that's great fun. Now you're covering the doorway and the entrance from the sewer tunnel, the exit from it. And obviously very tricky if you're coming out. Like, someone's face is going to be there. So you're probably checking that position, and then, somewhere in between. Again, slightly mad, but we're not at the bottom yet. We've got, we can go a level deeper into the madness here. And this one is just I'm not even going to try and defend it. So here's what it is. You get, again, 5 members on the T side. Everyone in the team, stack them all up out here. Just put a smoke into the tunnel, because you might need the time to be able to do this, or just hope that they've smoked it off. Then you aim for sort of this part of the ground, and again you get your trusty bots to stand. And I might have screwed it up a little bit. There we go. So that's it. You get the idea. The bots are all in place. That's a triple boost, and you can tell his head is roughly at the height of here. I'm going to cheat a little bit and just have my bot friend sort of punched into the wall, because otherwise I have to do this while they're all moving around, and it gets really tricky. So roughly, his head is at that height. Sort of roughly. We're just going to have him flying in the air for a little bit. So that's it. That's your... Oh, still got the mimic on, don't we? There we go. So he's roughly in that position. That's the height of the triple boost. And obviously that's easy to do. You won't really get anything out of it, but you can do it. Now, the next thing you need to do is have the last 2 members, the first 3, remember, are doing this boost. The other 2 are doing this boost. And it's kind of important that they are far out to the edge of the box. And as you can tell when I'm jumping, I'm sort of jumping into something. So you want to make sure that you're a little bit further out. I'm sorry, but Eugene has to go. They have to be, far out to the side. So we're going to try and see if we can make it work. Not as easy as it seems. There we go. So now we're far enough out that we can jump, which means theoretically, wait a minute, do we really have to do this? We're gonna go down to, okay, so we're gonna just put this guy over here. I promise you this can work. So we're just gonna try and see if we can get the last spot in a better position. This is obviously easier if you have, you know, friends and not bots, because friends can do this much, like they can move a little bit easier, right? So now we have, again, position where I can sort of jump, and that should mean that I can make the jump up. Wow, this is trickier than I thought. Listen, we're just gonna cheat our way through, and I'll show you. This is the angle that you can get. I promise you, it is so much easier when you get real life human beings and not bots. Spotting into the B-bomb site, spotting sniper spot. I don't think many people are going to be there. In case they jump or boost, then you know you've got that shot too. And yeah, there's just a lot of stuff you can see from this position. It's great fun. Shoot people if they're standing on the sort of default spot here. A lot of fun stuff. Obviously, the most extreme one is if people are moving down here, then your head is going to be sort of popping up right there. So that's it. It's more difficult when you're using bots. Like I said, if you have real life human beings, then one part does the triple boost, the other one do the double boost here. When they don't bounce into the ceiling, they just have to sort of edge far enough out on the barrel, which is not as hard as I made it seem. I realized I sort of undermined my own point a little bit, but just listen. Like I said, it was going to get deep, and we got really deep on this one. So that's it. 2 quad boosts that are happening on overpass, or can be happening. And yeah, I mean, may have lost my mind a little bit, but I hope you guys had fun, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And I hope you guys have fun at the SLTV event as well. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm having a good time. So hopefully you guys will as well. See you tomorrow, and have a good night.